Should the government be allowed to force you to answer questions about yourself? Not for a criminal investigation, not for taxes, for the census. In 2010, Canada eliminated the mandatory long-form census, and the decision shocked a lot of scientists, statisticians, and public health researchers. They brought it back in 2015, but I think the implications from its removal are still worth talking about. In this paper from 2011, I argue that the real issue wasn't just data, it was something deeper, a tension between individual freedom and the public good. And that tension shows up everywhere in public health. The long-form census isn't just a survey, it's one of the most important sources of data we have about society. Researchers use census data to study health, poverty, employment, education, and inequality. Governments use it to plan hospitals, schools, and social programs. Community groups use it to understand who needs help and where. Without reliable data, a lot of policy decisions become guesswork, and guesswork is dangerous when you're talking about public health. That's why many scientists were alarmed when the mandatory census was replaced with a voluntary survey. Because voluntary surveys don't work the same way. The people most likely not to respond are often the people most in need of services. So the data became biased, and biased data lead to bad decisions. Here's the uncomfortable part. The census forces people to answer questions. You can actually be fined for refusing. And that raises a serious ethical question. In research, we normally require informed consent. People have the right to choose whether to participate. That's a basic principle of ethics. But the census doesn't work that way. Participation is mandatory. So we have a contradiction. We want the best data for the public good, but getting that data means limiting individual freedom. Another concern is trust. In Canada, Statistics Canada has a strong reputation for protecting privacy. But history shows that governments don't always use data responsibly. Census information has been used in the past to identify minority groups. In some cases, that information helped governments carry out surveillance or even internment. That doesn't mean the census is bad, but it reminds us that powerful data can be misused. So the debate isn't just about statistics, it's about how much power we give the state. This is where the discussion gets philosophical. In modern societies, individual freedom is not absolute. We accept limits all the time. We pay taxes, we follow traffic laws, we accept quarantine during outbreaks, we ban smoking in public places, we require seatbelts. All of these rules restrict individual choice, but we accept them because they protect the public. The census falls into the same category. It limits autonomy, but it may benefit society as a whole. That's the real question. Not whether the census is good or bad, but how much freedom should we give up for the common good? Different societies draw that line in different places, and the line can move over time. Sometimes we value liberty more. Sometimes we value security more. Sometimes we value public health more. The census debate forced Canada to confront that question directly, and that's why it mattered. This issue didn't end with the census. We see the same tension everywhere. Vaccination mandates, mask rules, contact tracing, public health data collection, digital surveillance. Every time the same question comes up. How much individual freedom should we sacrifice to protect everyone else? There isn't a simple answer, but asking the question is part of being a healthy society. The census controversy wasn't really about a form. It was about values, how much we trust government, how much we value privacy, how much we believe in the public good. And those are questions every democracy has to keep asking. Because the balance between freedom and responsibility is never settled. It has to be negotiated again and again.